The story starts off with Calvin, a thief who's been serving time in jail for stealing jewelry. Today marks his final day in prison, and upon his release, we witness that all the prisoners are quite scared of him and hold a lot of respect for him. When he came out from prison, it is revealed that he is a dwarf man of just 3 feet in height. Then Percy, his friend, picks him up and shares his plan for their next heist during the car ride. Percy tells him that a notorious gangster named Wakan has promised a $100,000 reward to whoever can steal diamonds from a jewelry store. On the other side, we see a couple, Daryl and Vanessa, celebrating their anniversary at a restaurant. Vanessa informs Daryl that she has good news for him, prompting Daryl to excitedly exclaim, "I'm going to be a dad," creating an awkward moment in restaurant. However, Vanessa quickly clarifies that the good news is actually about her promotion. Upon listening that, Daryl's excitement gets fade away, but he still congratulates her wife. It's revealed that while Daryl wants to start a family immediately, Vanessa desires to focus on her career and is not yet ready for a child. On the other side, we see Percy stuffing Calvin into a bag to sneak into the jewelry shop to steal the diamond. Percy distracts the manager while Calvin swipes the diamond. However, a dog belonging to a woman present at the scene sneaks into Calvin's bag and starts barking, causing the woman to accuse Percy of stealing her dog and attracting the attention of the manager, who notices that the diamond is missing and calls the police. The police start chasing Percy and Calvin, but they manage to evade them by hiding in a shop where Daryl and Vanessa are arguing their plans to have a baby. Calvin seizes the opportunity and hides the diamond in Vanessa's bag, ensuring that even if the police catch him, they won't find the diamond on him. The police search for Percy and Calvin, but they are unable to find them, so they leave the shop. Meanwhile, Daryl and Vanessa leave for their home, with Percy and Calvin secretly following them. At home, we see that Vanessa's father, Pops, also resides in their house. He doesn't particularly like Daryl because he believes he's not good enough for Vanessa and hasn't been able to conceive a child with her yet, as he thinks Daryl's machine is not powerful enough. Then we see that Percy comes up with a plan to leave Calvin at their doorstep, making Daryl and Vanessa think that someone left his baby at their doorstep. And when they bring Calvin inside, he will take the opportunity to steal the diamond from Vanessa's bag. Calvin didn't like Percy's plan much, but they got no other option. Then, according to the plan, Percy leaves Calvin outside Daryl's house. However, when Daryl and Vanessa pick him up, they notice a foul smell emanating from him because a dog had peed on him. They assume that his diaper requires a change, and when they open his pants to change it, they're shocked to find that Calvin's stick is massive, making Pops thinks that Johnny Sins has abandoned his son. Vanessa thinks that they should ring the child support, but then Calvin intentionally starts coughing and wheezing, so they take him to the hospital first. There they discover that Calvin has a tattoo on his hand and a wound on his waist, which makes them suspect abuse. The doctor examines him and informs them that it's only a minor cold, nothing to worry about. Later, while in the hospital, Calvin swipes Vanessa's bag and tries to make a run for it. However, a police officer picks him up and starts playing with him in an endearing manner. Vanessa and Daryl arrive and claim him as their own child because they don't want to send Calvin to child support and risk more abuse. Afterward, they arrive home, and Calvin settles down on Pop's sofa, all set to eat his cookie. However, Pops takes it away from him, making Calvin angry. In a fit of rage, when Pops isn't noticing, Calvin places the cookie in his private area and puts it back on the plate. After a while, Daryl and Vanessa's friends came over to meet their adopted child. However, upon seeing him, they were quite taken aback as they found him rather unattractive. While everyone is chilling, Calvin's manly desire suddenly stirred when he noticed one of Vanessa's friends. He approaches her and sat on her lap, and kept grabbing her breasts repeatedly, and when she came close to him, he tightly grabs and kisses her. Not only that, but when Vanessa was dressing Calvin, he kept pushing her face down repeatedly. Later that night, Calvin was prepared to carry out his plan. Once everyone asleep, he picks Vanessa's purse and rings Percy to come and pick him up. However, Pops overhears everything and holds Calvin at gunpoint. Upon hearing Pops shouting, Daryl appears. Pops reveals the truth about Calvin to Daryl, but Daryl thinks that the old man has gone crazy, and takes Calvin to the kitchen to get him some milk. For the very first time, Calvin experiences a father's love and becomes emotional. And finally, Daryl tucks Calvin in his bed. He himself goes to his own bed and starts getting intimate with Vanessa, while Calvin watches them, but Daryl thinks he is just a child and won't understand these things. The next morning, Vanessa's face is beaming with a special glow and she thanks Daryl for the previous night. However, Daryl gets confused that he didn't really do anything new other than ordinary, and just then they notice that Calvin had sneaked into their bed at night, but they don't dwell on it too much and get back to their regular chores. Then after a while, Calvin covertly retrieves the diamond from the purse and stashes it in his diaper bag. With that done, he just needs to slip out of the house without creating a scene, but then Daryl takes him to the park, where Calvin repeatedly damages Daryl's ball while playing ball. Soon after, Percy arrives to collect the diamond from Calvin. However, onlookers suspect him of being a child thief and attack him, prompting Percy to flee with the diaper bag. Upon delivering the bag to Walken, it turns out that he grabbed the wrong bag, which only contains poops of the children. Walken affords him a second chance and assigns his men to keep an eye on him. Later, while returning home, Calvin seizes the opportunity and runs away with Daryl's car. Daryl thinks that someone stole his car along with a child. Daryl then hitches a ride with a woman and starts tailing his car. But the woman drives the car as if she has several lives to spare. Eventually, the police intercept Daryl's car, and Calvin quickly jumps into the passenger seat, causing police to believe that the thief has fled. Then, one day, Daryl takes Calvin to a hockey match. Calvin attempts to quietly steal the diamond from Diaper Bag, but when Daryl catches him in the act, Calvin hastily swallows the diamond to avoid getting caught. Later, Calvin drinks a man's beer and flirts with a waitress present there, resulting in Daryl facing the consequences. Afterwards, Calvin takes a laxative to pass the swallowed diamond. The following day, Daryl and Vanessa celebrate Calvin's birthday. Although Calvin is initially bored, he becomes quite emotional upon receiving affection from Daryl and Vanessa, as if he were meeting his own parents. On the flip side, Pops catches up the Calvin's news on TV at a restaurant, where the report comes in that Calvin is a wanted thief who has stolen a diamond and fled. Pops devises a plan to expose Calvin and gives him a teddy bear on his birthday, unaware that there is a camera installed in the bear. After a while, Percy shows up at Daryl's house and claims Calvin as his child, but Daryl gets angry and strikes him, driving him away, because he thinks that Percy is an abusive father and is not right for Calvin. Unfortunately, Walken's henchmen, who were tailing Percy, assume that Daryl is in cahoots with Percy and has possession of the diamond. After some time, as a result of the laxative's effect, Calvin suddenly defecates with such force that the diamond comes out from his rectum. Vanessa catches sight of the diamond and assumes that Daryl has brought it for her, and happily climbs onto Daryl's lap. Daryl attempts to tell her the truth, but she didn't give him a chance to speak. The two of them then head to the restaurant to celebrate the moment, and now it is Pop's responsibility to take care of Calvin. Pops lifts Calvin up, pretending to play with him, but then drops him to the ground, making Calvin angry. As a result, Calvin reveals his true identity to Pops and threatens him not to tell anyone. However, Pops ignores his warning, and they end up fighting. Later, Daryl and Vanessa return home to find Pops choking Calvin, prompting them to kick him out of the house right away. As he's leaving, he cryptically states that the teddy bear knows everything. Even Daryl is astonished that such a young child could cause such chaos. He inspects Teddy and discovers the truth, rushing to Calvin's room, but by that time, Calvin has already fled with the diamond. While in the car, Percy informs Calvin that Walken's men believe Daryl has the diamond and that they will stop at nothing to retrieve it. Worried about his family's safety, Calvin kicked Percy out of the car and returned to Daryl's house. There, he confronts the goons and puts up a fight until the police show up. Although Daryl doesn't reveal Calvin's involvement to the police, as Calvin had helped him in his time of need. However, he still makes Calvin hand over the diamond to the police. The police inform them that they will receive a $100,000 reward for finding the diamond. Then Calvin, feeling sad, starts to leave Daryl's house. Upon seeing him leave, Daryl's heart also fills up, and he decides to adopt Calvin. 9 months later, Vanessa gives birth to a baby, and the surprising part is that the baby's face looks exactly like Calvin's. With this mystery, the movie comes to an end. The IMDb rating of this movie is 4.5, but I personally give it a solid 7. I hope you enjoyed the explanation. For more videos like this, please like and subscribe. Till then, take care and watch out.